Hi, it's Lonnie. Welcome to Grace Blossoms for You. So today's the day I'm going to do some extra fruit in watercolor. And sometimes I use a pencil to draw the fruit ahead of time. Sometimes I just go in with my brush. There's a few brushes that I like to use for this. Whatever is comfortable for you in your hands and size-wise. This is a number 6 round brush. That's one of my favorites for making round shapes. Then I have a small number 2 round, which kind of would do like details, like seeds. And then this one is for things like peach slices. So you can just kind of make a curved line. But yeah, so those are the main ones that I'm going to be using today. But I think today I'll draw a few just to get started. Usually I don't so much draw, but it might be easier for some people to draw it out first. So I'm going to start over here and then work my way that way over to the page because I'm right-handed. And that way I hope to have this started and then drying, and as I go over here then I'll move back over here and do more details. So I'll start with something really easy that I can do in this far corner here, and that's probably going to be a strawberry, and that looks about right, except if I'm drawing it then I might want to curve that so-called triangle a little bit more. And then what I like to do is get some leaves in there, and so far I have been really struggling getting those leaves in, but that's all part of the fun, I guess. And okay, so that's a strawberry. I think for the demonstration purposes today, I'll just make a couple of each, and then I will fast forward and maybe skip to the good relevant parts. The blueberries I don't usually draw. I usually just go straight in with a brush. Oh, I also have a mixing brush. It's an older brush that I'm not concerned about the shape anymore. So that will be my color mixing brush. I do have a palette here of, it looks pretty messy right now, but I have been working on a lot of fruit, so. All right, so how about we do, let's say the peach. So basically the peach is just a curve, like a C, and mine usually aren't correct, but I'm not a huge peach eater, so I don't really know how big the pit is inside. So you can make that as big or as little as you want. And so yeah, that's a peach. I didn't draw the peaches before either, so I just kind of did the brush thing. It got a lot easier when I started using the flat brush. Okay, so that's the peach. Could do some lemon. I haven't done a lemon yet. I figured I had so many lemons in my ephemera that I didn't need, but I also have a lot of strawberries, and that didn't stop me. So let's see. If we do an oval, and then put a nib on it, a nub, something, a bump, something like that. You could make it rounder also. The reason I don't mind drawing them is because I'm going to outline them later anyways. So that's entirely up to you how you finish it. I'm just going to show you what I do. I did have somebody ask, thank you Debbie, how I did the watercolor fruit. So okay, so that's one lemon. I think I'm going to need another one to practice, because I have two signatures I at least need 2 lemons, right? And now that my signatures have turned into 1 journal each, yeah, so some of them can be round, some of them, you know, they're kind of, they're not perfectly shaped usually, so very forgiving fruit. Then, could do an orange. I have done an orange. It's basically the same as a lemon, except it's rounder. So, let's see. We'll do that. And obviously these are not to scale. Peach slices are gonna be bigger than this. But anyways, all right, so I'll do another orange. Purposely did it so that it wasn't completely round. There's a watermelon. That's like a D shape. And then it has a rind. That I'm not gonna actually draw in because it's supposed to be looking like like the rind is dark green on the edge, and then it turns kind of to white before it goes into the pink. So I'm going to just leave that, and I'll do a couple more. Now obviously watermelon is going to be bigger because they're huge. There was more. Oh yeah, the blueberries, which I don't draw, and then there's the cherries, which I also usually don't draw. In fact, I did very few drawings. Then there's the kiwi. Let's see, where do I have room? Kiwi is, to me, like a circle. And this is going to be the kiwi slice. And then it's going to be light in the middle. And then the seeds are going to be around it. And sometimes I use pencil crayons to touch up the color if the watercolored paint didn't do what I wanted it to do. So that's like a kiwi. And I didn't draw them last time either, but like I said, I'm gonna outline them anyway, so then I just make a circle. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying the colors of the fruit. That's, I think, why I'm enjoying this fruit journal so much, is because of the colors. I'm gonna do one more kiwi slice in here. I like to use up all my paper. I don't like to waste. I don't like to have lots of in-between space, so I do like to make them quite close together. And something like that. Then, yeah, so the cherries, I'll draw one or two here. It's kind of like a rounded heart. And I also like to make them kind of behind each other. With a dip. And then with the stem for each, and then a leaf, at least one leaf. And I do watch a lot of watercolor tutorials, so I am not saying I came up with any of these. I have, like I said, watched a whole bunch, and I can tell you some of my favorite people to watch, but I think that needs to be closer. I didn't get this from any one person exclusively either. I did watch a whole bunch. And not just recently, but over the years I have. So this is my takeaway from everything that I have seen other watercolor people do. And some of them are amazing. So I am happy to just glean a little bit of their expertise when when it comes to me doing it. So I'm happy you're taking an interest if that's you. And yeah, so okay, so that's 2 cherries. For blueberries, I don't again usually draw them, but they're just basically circles. And you can do them behind each other, and you can make them different sizes. I like to make them different sizes. So obviously this one's in front, so it should be a little bigger. That's probably why I don't usually draw them. Okay, so let's see what else. Sometimes I do leaves on the blueberries. Most of the time I don't though. Just depends on what you want and how to go about it. You decide what you want. Oh, and then after I do the details, if I have to decide which is going to be the bottom. So then I draw this little like belly button type thing. What else? Yeah, the seeds for the strawberries come last. I just thought maybe I should do like a plum. Haven't done any plums, but I think they're like an oval. And then they've got this something like that. They have this thing like a ridge. I'll try another one. I didn't do any grapes either. Now I'm thinking of all these things that I didn't do. If I did want to do grapes, I would probably start with like an oval. I would draw the main shape of the cluster. Sorry if you can hear my laundry. I'm working upstairs today because the light's better, and I find that I do better work when I have light. So now as for the grapes, I would imagine they come on this stem, and I think I made it too far away. And then it just kind of branches off. I have no reference, and I'm not really going for accurate here either, so I am going to just kind of try and make this, I don't know, what do you call that? Cluster of grapes? There, that'll be fine. I'm only making one. If I like it, I can make more later. Now I just have to remember what all these things are. So I have wet my colors. I'll do it again because that was a bit ago. My palette looks really messy, but I just really do work on the fly here. So I'm going to grab some yellow and put it here. Let's see, I'll probably should start with the lightest color. That just kind of makes sense. But also, I feel like I don't have enough colors mixed in here yet. Now, I don't remember who gave me this tip, but it had to do with when you're painting yellow fruit to put in like a shadow, and that basically was this blue. So I'm going to just start with that. And I'm going to make that lighter. Okay, then I'll do the same thing for the other one. I guess I should have drawn the yellow fruit first so that I wouldn't go over it with my hand. Oh well. Okay, what else do I have that's yellow? Nothing. Okay, so this is yellowy orange, so maybe I'll do that next. To get that color, what I want is a little bit of orange and yellow mixed. But I want my other brush. Hang on. I have some paper towel to blot my brushes. That keeps my water cleaner. So I just basically follow the brush and make a circle or half a circle. Since I did draw it, I can see where I want the fruit or the paint. So this could be peach, it could be mango. Yeah, the brush doesn't really matter which one you use if you're going to draw it first. So, okay, so that's that. And then with the peach or the mango, take a little bit of red, probably grab too much, and then just do the outline and let the color play in there. And I think I got too much in that one. I can touch that up with pencil crayon later. Then I'm going to do the strawberry. For the strawberry, I like to mix red and orange to get like a warm reddish color. And I don't usually draw it, so I don't usually avoid the leaves because I usually just draw the leaves after, but this might actually be the smarter way to go. I want just a little bit warmer color here. That does not look like a strawberry. And I use my brush to wipe out some color if I'm not happy with it, and that to me is just a little too warm. I need some orange or some reddish. Okay, that'll work. All right, what else? Then these were actual oranges, so I'm gonna need more orange paint. Yeah, I don't mind some red in it. So when I mix colors, I just basically keep mixing until I'm happy with the color that I have. I just thought of something for the oranges. I'll be right back. I just took some coarse salt and poured it over the orange to see if I could make some divots, those little bumps that oranges have. And I have to let that dry. I'll do it in this one as well. Now, some of the fruit should have highlights in them. I usually do that with the blueberries and the cherries because they're smaller, in my thinking anyways. I don't really do it with the bigger fruits, but that could just be me. Maybe they're supposed to have highlights, I don't know. All right, so salt again. I should use a shaker, I guess, not just pour it on with my hand. Oh well. That might give it a highlight because the salt might absorb some of the paint and then it'll leave a highlight. And again, I can fix it later with my pencil crayons. Okay, so those are the oranges. Then for the, well, let's do the lemon. See if it works. I have way too much paint. It should be thinner for watercolor, but oh well. I think I'm gonna do some salt on there too. Just keep it off the stuff I haven't painted yet. I actually don't mind how that turned out with the sorry, with the blue in the background. More salt. All right. Moving along, time for the watermelon. Okay, so for the watermelon, I do add a lot of water to my dark red, which hopefully will turn pink. So I start here, and I forgot about the rind already. The darkest part of the watermelon is the center of it. So I do wipe up a little bit of that and then drop it again by the center so it can move back down. And that's not really the shade I had last time. Watermelon is more pink. And it will dry lighter, but right now it looks a little dark to me. Okay, so then I need a green. So just dropping in some more color for the rind, and again leaving some white space there. And again, I can fix the color later if I don't like the green. This one's too dark. All right, then Now I need a bit of a warmer green for the kiwi. And two, I might as well just go back up here and fill in the leaves for the strawberry. Should be dry by now. For the kiwi, I need some warmish color. And sometimes I go beside to check the color. It should be okay. If not, again, the pencil crayon will come in handy. And then I wipe out the center. To get that highlight. Something like that. And then I do the other one. And I could do it maybe this way too, is just put some more water in there and then just add the light part later. That should work. Probably quicker that way. But this one here is kind of not blending very well. Okay, again, pencil crayon is your friend. Oh, that was another watermelon. Okay. Okay. Then I went too far with that pink. So I'll have to erase it later when it's dry. And go around the outside. Not sure why I did 3 watermelons. Okay. Oh, I have more kiwi. It's all right. Okay, it's better. A little more of an olive. All right, so that's those. Then the cherries. I do end up cutting mine out, so I keep that in mind. And I didn't give it a highlight. Oh well, I can leave one there now that I'm thinking of it. Basically, a highlight is just a white spot or that you don't color in. They're a little bit light. I could have used more color. And I use a darker red if I want to make like a shadow. Then I'm going to do the blueberries. For the blueberries, I think I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. And the thing about blueberries is I like to make them different color blue. Doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. So I remember hearing that the darker one should be in the back, so the lightest one should be in the front. And again, I try to leave a highlight. It's a small one because they're small berries. And then with the blueberries, I'll try to do a few at a time so I'm not changing color so often. And these are a little bit darker than I would like normally, but that's okay. Then I can mix a little bit of green with the blue to make it a little more different. Too much water. I don't really mind if the color collides. And then almost like a purple for the one that's kind of in the back. And I don't have enough of the color on my brush. It's kind of hard for me to see because of the lighting in here. I have a lot of glare on my paper, especially where the water's hitting, so. Alright, so then I'll take another little bit more purple, and that's a little darker than I wanted. That's okay. Okay, so that's the blueberries. While that's drying, I'm going to do the stem. I'm going to pick a little bit of brown here and mix it with my green. Dab off some of that water and just trace the stems. And the cherries are not dry yet. I didn't really want that brown in with that red, so I'm just gonna dab it out. Okay. And I have a little bit too much red going on there. Too much and yet not enough. What shall I do there? Again, I'll fix it with the pencil crayon later. All right, so then what else? We got the plums and the grapes. Oh, and we have the leaf here. I think if I was not drawing, it would be more of a painting experience. The way I'm finding this is if I draw it first, it's more like I'm just filling in the colors, which is fine, but I think I actually prefer it the other way where I don't draw ahead of time. That's totally a matter of preference. Just depends on what you're comfortable with and how you like to do it. So and again, it's not really green enough for my liking, so if I add, it's kind of like a dance, you know, you add a little paint and then you have to add a little water, then you've added too much of one thing and then you try to balance it back the other way. It's okay, it'll be fine. All right, so I'm going to do the plum. I kind of want to do the same thing that I did with the lemon, except I'm thinking I want to do it with like a purple, or maybe I'll do it with the red. Let's be daring and do it with the red. Just kind of plop in, and it has a little bit of orange on it too. Then let's go in with the purple and see what happens. I just need to know which purple. Maybe that one. Do I have to let that dry? No. It seems to me I remember that plums turn color as well as they ripen, so you have different shades. Okay, I might add the thing in there later with the when I add the details. I'll try this with the blue. Kind of like that color, blue and the purple mixed. Nice. All right, so what about the grapes? Again, I'll touch this up with the pencil crayon. I just wanted to make it all kind of filled in, but I'll be able to see the lines later too, so then I'll have to let it dry. And I'll want some of it darker later on too. All right, so then all right, let's go back to the strawberry. Oh wait, before we do that, let's do the stem on the grape here. And then maybe later after draw some leaves yet for that. Okay, so that's actually my mixing brush. All right, what do I need yet? I need seeds for pretty much everything. And on the peaches, I didn't do enough red, so I can do that again with pencil crayon. Any details that got lost can be added later on. Seeds for the watermelon, I usually go with a darker red, and have to find a spot that doesn't have so much water. About right here. So then, I don't know how well you can see that. I just kind of go dropping them in. Trying to make them small. They don't all work out small, but just make dots. And I could do that with pencil crayon too, but it's kind of hard. Acrylic pen would work. There's another option. Okay, that's good for the strawberries. Then we need seeds. Or is this my mixing brush? Yep, okay. This is my good brush for the seeds. For the watermelon seeds. I don't know if they're all dry, but let's try it. So basically, I'm just gonna put it down. Doesn't have to be all the way. Some are bigger, some are smaller. I think this is my favorite part. I mean, how fun is that? All right, so then the kiwi, same thing, except I'm gonna add a lot of brown to the kiwi seeds. So I use the black that I started with, but then I will go like this with the brown as well. And this works much better once the kiwi has dried. I think one of my flaws when it comes to doing watercolor is not waiting long enough for it to dry. So that's pretty dark. What I like to do is take some paper towel and blot it up a little bit. And then later when I do the pencil crayon touch up, it will, it'll change a little bit again. So, all right, so start with black, go in with brown, do the same thing for the others. Then for the plums, I'll probably do that with pen or pencil crayon. I need some green for the grapes. Yeah, grapes have these leaves that have like wavy edges. Something like that. Okay. And that's about it. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to show you how I do the edgings, the edges and the highlights and the outlining. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so here comes the time for the final touch-ups, and here's where they start to look better. I did take off the salt, and as you can see, I did get some texture. The oranges I felt turned out really good. The lemon, maybe it was too wet. It took out a lot of color there. That lemon, I can hardly see that anything changed there, but they look like lemons, so I'm okay with that. I think everything's dry. So again, I'm going to start over here. And I have these watercolor pencil crayons. Yeah. And I like them. That's what I usually would do if I was going to draw it first. Then I would actually use the pencil crayons. But they are also good for adding details later on. So in the case of my strawberries that don't look particularly red, I might go in and color in some more. Now I'll stay away from the seeds because sometimes the pencil crayon will actually show up and be shiny. So I have to check that while I'm coloring to see if that's going to be the case. The seeds are a bit shiny. Okay, it's a little more red, I guess. Then this one is also missing a little bit. I just like them to do a bit more of a pop than just sort of red. Okay, so that, and then I might add a little bit of highlight to the leaves if I'm not crazy about them. Something like that. And then I'm going to outline them. Now I sometimes just outline them in a black pen. So I'll do the strawberry first. And I'm not too precise either. If I miss the outline, it's okay. I'm not too worried about it. And I've seen some people draw in extra stuff, like extra leaves, and not paint them in. I haven't really done that, but that would be I think that would be kind of fun to do as well. All right, so then that's the strawberries. And I think I'm gonna add just a little bit of a dark highlight on the leaves as well. And then that's done. For me, that's finished. Okay, so then I'll move on to the next. And for the peach, that red I added totally went bye-bye. I'm gonna try and see if I can get a little more yellow in here. You might not be able to see it on camera or in the video, but I can see that it's becoming a little more peach colored when I add this yellow. That one's nice and yellow already. Then I'm going to try the red. I think that's, yeah, this is a deep red. So I'm just going to see if I can make a little bit of a, it's kind of dull. I should have sharpened it, but just adding a little bit more oomph to give it that pop. Okay. I'm going to call that almost good. I need to outline it yet. Okay, that's good. They're a little bit small, but that's okay. Then for the orange, this one I think is good except for the outline. And I'm going to add that, the navel. And I'll make this the bottom. I don't want it black necessarily, but I guess I did it in black anyways. All right, so then outline. And there's an orange. Can also outline it first. And then do the navel. Okay, so that's right at the bottom, although that looks more like the navel there. Oh well, it's okay. I like the salt technique on the oranges though. It gave me the white highlights on there. All right, so then what? I can just do the lemon. I think I want a thinner line there though. Try this pen. Like so. Now, if you wanted to use white, you could. Maybe have a gel pen or something. You could add a little bit of highlight. This works to a point. I think I'd be more inclined to fill in with some more yellow though. Kind of lost some here with the salt. But the white does work somewhat. It's not super obvious, but when you look at it up close, you can see a little bit of that texture. Okay, then with the watermelon, I'm going to erase that pencil. It's just kind of irritating me a little bit there. And I want that white spot in there. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to outline it in black anyways. But again, it's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use the pen. Okay, then the kiwi. Let's see. Some of the colors I actually don't mind. They turned out pretty good. I think I used the olive green last time. And I just kind of filled in where the center was where it changed from light to darker. So I just kind of went around the edges. I can do that here too. Gives it a little more oomph. Yeah, so I've been really enjoying using the fruit that I've been making in my journals, and decided that maybe I needed some more fruit for future use. I haven't finished decorating my journals yet either, so I might put some more fruit in there. So that takes care of the color of the kiwi. And then just the outline again. And I maybe should mention that for this project, I'm using the cheapest watercolor paper from Walmart. Let's see here. I have the cover. It's Hilroy Studio Pro watercolor paper, and it is really thin, 160 GSM. What I like about it is, I mean, it's not a fancy watercolor paper, okay, but what it does have in its favor is it does absorb water fairly well, and it's fairly thin, so if you want to cut things out, then that will be very easy to do. Okay, then here we go with the plum. I don't know if that works or not, but it's my first attempt at a plum. Okay, then we do the same thing with the other fruit here. All right, so here I am back with the grapes, and I am just highlighting some of the main ones, basically tracing the ones that I had drawn. And there's a background color of purple, because why not? We got a cluster of grapes here, and certainly there would be grapes throughout. So as for outlining the grapes, probably just do a little more, and then maybe do the outside edge again, something like that. And yeah, that's that. And then I'm going to cut them out, and I will show you what they look like when they're all cut out. All right, so here I am back with the cutout fruit, and I think it looks good. I did leave a little bit of a border so that there's some contrast going on. And what am I going to do with it now? I was thinking I haven't actually made any clusters yet. So, I mean, I made some clusters on twinchies and whatnot, but not really any clusters besides that, like any standalone clusters. And so now with the cherry, I don't usually cut out that part. I might, depending if I needed it, but the stems are so thin that I'm just leaving that there. So far it hasn't really been an issue, except when I needed to cut my cherries apart, then I also cut that. But yeah, this is how I've been doing it, and added some lemons and some grapes and plums to my repertoire. So hope you like that for what it's worth. Like I said, there's lots of tutorials, and I'm sure this wasn't a great one. Just more to show you the process and different ways to go about achieving the same look. Yeah, use what you have. Pencil crayons certainly don't need to be watercolor. You could also just cut out images and use those. So anyways, thanks for joining me today. Hope you like that, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.